I am an international model, and I have been working in the fashion industry for a little over a decade now. Whew, Jesus. And I'm here in Lagos to announce the launch of my academy called the 820 Academy. Before I did the show, America's Next Top Model, I was a biology student in university at William Patterson University, a basketball player in high school. So I actually have game. My skills they were really impeccable. I was a really, really good Muslim daughter. I didn't really stir any feathers. I was kind of a tomboy. I grew up in Yanokwada, and I was like a troublesome little girl, you know? I really, my aunt always tell me, you're always running around. I was probably 5 going on 50, you know? I thought that I was already a little woman. I used to call my mom by her first name, never call her mommy. I'm like, Bola, where's my father? You know what I mean? No, and they would tell me these things to remind me, I was such a personality. Thank God I glowed up, because I look like a little boy, legit. But I was always a straight A student, super academic. For me, school was an escape from being an immigrant in America, you know? So going to school, I could escape in my subjects with my classmates, who weren't always the nicest, but I was very, very focused about my academic. I always say America's Next Top Model Cycle 12 for me was the best free vacation ever. You have to understand, I was a biology student with a double minor in chemistry and African American Caribbean studies. So when I got the call to say, you're in the semifinals, I turned it down. I was like, no, it's okay. My parents' semester already started. So for me, that experience was me taking a risk that either is going to benefit my career and propel in another direction, or it's going to hurt me. And I just took a semester off from university for no reason. Am I crazy? But I'm happy I took the risk. I'm happy I had good people around me to push me to say, you know what? How many girls would die to have this opportunity? They chose you. You made it to the semifinals. They want you to go to Vegas. They want you to come to New York. Do it. So I had to kick fear out the way, and I'm glad, because I came in, top 3. I never modeled before, if you can imagine that. Yeah, I honestly never thought I was going to become a model, funny enough. That wasn't, some girls, they grow up at 15, 16, they want to be a model. I know 8-year-olds oh, I want to be a top model when I grow up, and I'm like, are you okay? That's your goal. I feel like your goal should be something that you're passionate about. Not that modeling, some people aren't passionate about modeling, but modeling is an avenue. It shouldn't be the end-all, be-all. In my opinion, I feel like you should gain experience all over, whether it's in school, you travel, you work in your craft, whether you're in business or you're in arts, you're in the sciences of any sort. Focus on that, and I think that'll make you a better model or a better entrepreneur, or whatever it is that you want to become. It was really difficult for me to slowly transition from academia and I was an RA, I was resident assistant. So I was the police / mom of your dorm, a dormitory in school. So now to being on television and people knowing your name and having fans, and I say this in quotes because I feel like I rather call them supporters than fans, and people being like, oh my God, it's you, and I'm just saying, me, really? So it took me a while, honestly, and then also to transition into modeling. After the show, I had to go back to school. I had to finish. I finished. I got that degree because my parents are Nigerian, and so finishing was really hard too, because now you did this show, you thinking your life is going to be better, you're going to be making money, you're going to be, it's a lie. It's a lie. It didn't happen. I was in school, I was depressed, I had anxiety, I didn't know what I was going to do. How am I going to make it? Because, you know, you don't want to do such a great show, a big show, do well, and then you don't follow through. You know, like you fail. Yeah. For me, failure wasn't an option. So it's like I had all this stress before I graduated about what is my next step. Like, how do I actually pursue this modeling career and this passion that I have for it? The next thing I did after I finished Top Model, which I need to clarify. A lot of people think you do the show and it airs. It's about 6 months because they have to edit and do all the production of it before it actually airs. So you have to be quiet. No one can know you were on the show because it hasn't aired yet. We taped, and then you had to wait 6 months for it to air. So after it aired, not the show was over, but it aired on television for you folks, I hustled my butt off. Like, I really, really hustled. I tried to find every connection I could because I didn't have connections. So you do a show and that's it. Like, you're kind of cut off. You didn't win. Sorry. Thank you for participating. All the best. So I had to hustle. And funny enough, my girlfriend in high school, sister, went to school with Nduka's daughter for me to get the contact to, like, book Arise. Can you imagine that one? So it was literally, it's, you know, you want something so bad, so you kind of will it to happen, you manifest it. So I didn't give up. Like, I didn't necessarily know that Arise was doing a show. I found out, and then I tried to figure out a way to get somebody that might know anyone to get me to a casting. And then I casted. They didn't pick me, funny enough, because they're like, oh, you're very new, and there was a bad stigma at the time in 2009 that, oh, you did this show, you did this TV show. So America's Next Top Model, everybody thinks that, okay, you did a modeling show. No, you did a TV show that has models in it. So people within the fashion industry look at you differently. You're not to them an actual model. You're a celebrity. You're like a TV. They do this thing, oh, you did that TV show. It's like, and this is in New York, so it was very, very difficult. They didn't book me, but luckily Desiree saw something in me, and she was like, I'll call you back in tomorrow. I want to see you with your hair up in a ponytail, something fitted, and maybe we can use it to do fittings. So I was just a fit model. We had, in that season, there was over 88 pieces. So I fit every piece that, and more, that didn't even make it into the fashion show. But that's how I got my foot in the door. And once I got my foot in the door, you couldn't get me out. I was like, oh, okay, I'm in here now. For me, I can say that family support is very important. And unfortunately, I didn't have it. So, and the reason why I didn't have it was my fault. So I did America's Next Top Model without telling my parents. Very stupid. I'll never do that one again. You know, like, so how can they bless it when they weren't informed about it? So now that, you know, the show is done, they were still not into, oh, their daughter who's supposed to be the doctor. You know, I was a biology, pre-med, pre-physical therapy. The goal was to be a doctor of some sort, whether a doctor of physical therapy or a medical doctor or plastic surgeon, which is what I love, you know, and they were just disappointed. Like, how did we go from medicine, you know, to modeling? That's a different M. They never sped it. So for them, it was hard to wrap their heads around it. But luckily, your family isn't just your parents. And I have siblings who I love dearly, and they were my ride and die. They gave me the support that I needed during the tough times. So as Nigerian Muslims, it's very difficult for your family to support something in the arts, because to them, you must be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, a nurse is acceptable. But there are these categories that we must fit in as children because they don't want us to suffer or struggle. They want us to be financially fluid and stable. And the artistic lifestyle, the saying is a struggling artist. So to them, it's like, no. And I'm also older, and they realize, like, what can they do? I don't live in their house. I don't even live in the same continent as them. So for them now, all they can do is just love me, support me, and pray for me that I do succeed. Racism in America is deep. It's like America it's built. It's in, like, racism in America is embedded in one another. So of course you're gonna find racism, in my opinion, in every industry, not just in the fashion industry. I always say this: is the fashion industry racist? Of course, sure, why not? Are we surprised? No, we shouldn't be, because the industry wasn't created for us. Think about it. American fashion, European fashion, it was always created, in my opinion, if you look at it historically, based on who their muse were, what the muse was, and it was very Caucasian. So as Africans, we have to create our own industries, our own muse, our own inspiration that tell our own stories. I don't expect a European designer or a brand or label to understand what this means, all this melanin, all this chocolates. Like, they might see it and find it beautiful, or they might not, but I don't live for that, So yes, it's very difficult to kick down doors and break down barriers within the fashion industry, because black is beautiful, so is white, so is Asian, so is yellow, and all these other, colors within the rainbow. But racism is always going to be, especially if you're talking about America, because America was built on slavery. Slavery within American, like Native Americans, not Indians, like actual Native Americans, the people they found there, and Africans that they brought through the Atlantic slave trade. So if you don't address slavery, you're always going to have racism. And racism is a group of people, predominantly those people within power, thinking that they're superior and better than another group of people solely based on the color of their skin, not based on their knowledge and their intelligence or even their gender. It's solely because you're black. It's kind of disappointing. The differences that I find between the US market and the African market is time, organization, and experience, right? They've been doing it longer. We're kind of getting into it. We're new, but we're killing it. Like, the African market, in my opinion, is really killing it. In terms of creativity and output and amazing emerging artists, whether they're designers or makeup artists or stylists, like, we are the wave, America, they've been doing it so much longer, so they've polished their fashion industry. I'm not saying that it's not growing. Obviously, it's still growing. There's still amazing designers and models and creative within the industry. I just find it that it's kind of been done in America, right? I feel like there's so much untapped creativity, untapped avenues here in Africa, within the continent and the diaspora, that we can elevate and even surpass our counterparts. And why not? Like, I feel like everything starts here. I'm very pro-Black, pro-Africa, so for me, it's, why don't we, I can say for myself, take what I've learned and experienced in the US and bring it here to Africa, where we can take it to a whole new, frontier, take it to a whole new level. I don't think Africans in general should be copying America or Europe. I think we need to tell our own stories. Obviously, we look into our own traditions and our own culture and what really inspires us. Like, our dirt is different. You know what I mean? Just the dirt on the ground alone is different. That soil, that richness, that vibrant color. I feel like we should tell our own stories and find ways to navigate that and explore it rather than copying what's being done. It's already done. There's nothing innovative about it. You know, like can you be inspired by another designer, maybe in the US or in Europe? Sure. But make it very relatable to the African market. So like if you're a Nigerian designer, like we have so many traditions, from our food to our music to our clothes and our textiles. Like we need to explore that. Our language, I'm Yoruba. The Yoruba people, we're not just a language. We were a religion. So we have our own gods, you know what I mean? Like let that motivate you. Let that tell your story. Don't necessarily feel as though you need to be the next, I don't know. I don't want to even drop European designers right now because we're not about that, you know, like be the first you. And I think there's so many amazing designers. I can talk about Nigerian designers who are doing things like they're like the avenue where they're going is beautiful, and they're based. So I have a friend of mine, Washington Roberts. He's a Nigerian designer. He's based in New York, you know, and like his collection and his prints and his style, the texture, the symmetry that he uses, it's very uniquely him. Like I can walk anywhere and I can tell a Washington Roberts piece, you know, and that says a lot. And these are people who are Nigerian, they're in the US, but they're designers. Yes, are they Nigerian designers? For sure, but they're also designers first because that's what really gets their blood pumping, you know? But for all the like younger creatives, I don't think you need to copy what America is doing. Like we have to be so inclusive within what we're doing that we're not bothered about what's hot. Like look at Afro beats right now. Our music is the ish. Come on. Like let's just call it what it is, you know? And we're not necessarily concerned about what these hip hop artists are doing. Trust and believe they're gonna be jumping at the chance and opportunity to collaborate and work with our artists all over Africa. And I get it, Nigerian artists are doing, like they're killing it right now, but Ghanaians, Kenyans, Senegalese or Congolese, like I love Congolese music, you know what I mean? Like Africa in general it's a movement. Currently, I'm working on launching my academy. So it's called 820 Academy. The A is for me, obviously. But pretty much for me to give my experience, my time, what I've acquired along the years, and pay it forward to the up and coming artists, models, entrepreneurs, people who are in this creative space that, you know, like I said, our parents don't necessarily support us 100%. Like a lot of Nigerian parents are coming along and supporting their children, you know, whatever it is that you want to be in this space. So that's what the 820 Academy is going to do, you know, kind of give you the steps, show you the way, connect you with some people, because I've met and networked with a lot of people in these past years, whether from New York to Nigeria to South Africa, where I feel as though we can make something really beautiful happen. The first thing you should get going, if you're a young female and you want to model, you should do your research and figure out what type of model do you want to do. The problem is everybody says, I want to model, but they don't know that modeling is broken down to different categories. Like, what type of model are you? Are you a runway model? Are you an editorial model? Are you a commercial model? Are you a parts model? Are you a figure model? Are you a fit model? You know, like, are you plus size? Like, if you want to become a top model, meaning you do it all, you really have to do your research. Find somebody that you feel as though like you would love to follow their trajectory, you know, their career in terms of how they got started, you know, what type of images they've shot, what agencies they were placed with in the market, and you do the research first. Once you feel as though you know the terminology, you know the lingo, the language in a way, then you start looking at agencies in your country or your city or your market that will potentially sign you. And it's not going to be easy to get an agency because people want to see what you look like. So take some Polaroids, no makeup, your hair pulled back out of your face, a tank top, some, you know, skinny jeans, or maybe a pair of shorts so they can see your shape in your body, and some heels, and you submit that, like simple, fresh, clean Polaroids, and then you take it from there. But if you don't do your research, and that's what a lot of people fail to do, how do you know what direction you want to go to? Like now in my career, I don't necessarily see myself fitting into a size 0 and doing only runway. Like now I want to do more TV commercials and television and acting and movie gigs, you know, becoming a brand ambassador, spokesperson for a brand. I think that's where I would like to go now, considering still being a model, but you're changing. Nah, that's not cute at all. So do your research, stay in school, and take some Polaroids and submit, and you never know, you might be signed with IMG worldwide.